A resource fair held on Madison's north side offered support to those struggling with domestic violence, providing folks with life-saving information. WMTV's Shannon Najawin went to the annual event and learned these resources are not just beneficial to those who feel unsafe in a relationship.
It's likely that everyone knows someone impacted by domestic violence. Advocates against it say there is no harm in knowing the signs to look out for and ways to help someone in danger. 75% of the homicides in the city of Madison have been domestic violence related so far this year. This, according to the Domestic Abuse Intervention Services.
It's really about collaboration, it's really about community, and it's really about manifesting the healthy community and peaceful community that we want to see here in Dane County.
The organization held their community resource fair on Saturday for a second year in a row.
People who are not just working on violence prevention and intervention, but people who are working on a lot of the other issues that impact survivors, such as economic equity and housing access.
Executive Director Shannon Berry adds many of those providing information to attendees this weekend have their own connection to domestic violence.
Folks who have gone through the experience of intimate partner violence are uniquely positioned to understand all of the nuances and ways in which power and control can be utilized in a relationship, and are amazing advocates for those who are coming after them.
Well, our services are for a variety of folks with different experiences.
Assistant Director of Outreach for Dane County Sexual Violence Resource Center, Bree Breinig, says for over 50 years, the nonprofit has supported survivors.
It's actually why we changed our name from Rape Crisis Center to RCC Sexual Violence Resource Center, to better encompass people's different experiences and to let folks know that you do not have to be in immediate crisis to use our services.
Breinig is one of many volunteers offering a safe space for those impacted by domestic abuse.
That's such an important part, is literally just people knowing that resources exist, because even if it's not happening directly to you, sexual violence is so pervasive that almost everyone knows someone who has been impacted.
If you or someone you know needs help, DAIS operates a helpline 24/7 at 608-251-4445, and you can remain anonymous. More resources can be found on our website as well. In the studio, Shannon Najawin, WMTV 15 News.